Hey everybody, what's going on? It's been a quiet couple of weeks now in Montreal Canadiens land, but Kent Hughes has been quietly making the rounds and talking with some of the media. So I think it's time to look at some of the observations we can take from what he's been saying to the media and draw some conclusions of our own. Now, the one article that really stood out to me was with The Athletic, who they had a 30-minute sit down with Kent Hughes, and they kind of discussed what the next 8 months could look like for the Montreal Canadiens, including talking about the trade deadline, the draft, free agency, and much, much more. And I'm not trying to advertise this piece in this video, but I just thought it was really interesting to kind of get a perspective of what Kent Hughes is thinking as the new general manager of the Montreal Canadiens. And I really was impressed with some of the new things that he was going to bring to the table for this Habs team. There was a lot of transparency, which is not what we've been used to over the last decade with Marc Bergevin at the helm for the Montreal Canadiens. And I can guarantee you this much, there will be no more quotes like, get a PlayStation so you can make those trades from Marc Bergevin. Or if you want loyalty, buy a dog. You're going to get transparency from the new Montreal Canadiens general manager and assistant president of hockey operations in Jeff Gordon. And I really think that's positive for the direction the Montreal Canadiens are headed in. Now, if you look at some of the things he also said in that article, specifically about Jeff Petrie, they're going to try to accommodate Jeff Petrie, whose family is now over in Michigan. Jeff Petrie is living alone in Montreal, and that can obviously be difficult for a player. But if you look at what Jeff Petrie has performed like this season, his head is clearly not in the game right now. And I think a lot of it has to do with the family aspects off the ice. He clearly is not happy in Montreal, and I'm not necessarily sure that has to do with things on the ice. It's more so just everything that's compiled off the ice, and that does take a toll on a player's mindset. So I really do think Kent Hughes is going to try to accommodate Jeff Petrie, much like he said, but he's not going to give him away for free. I really do believe that Jeff Petrie can fetch quite a nice return, especially if you do retain, let's say, 20% of that contract. So if you look at Jeff Petrie at 20%, you're likely going to get a return like a second round pick, plus a mid to high level prospect. And I do believe that will be a solid move for the Montreal Canadiens to make. And I think that's something they're going to make ahead of next season. It's not a guarantee they do so ahead of this trade deadline, but it's a move that will be done ahead of next season. And I do believe that will be a positive move for the Montreal Canadiens because Jeff Petrie is going to be an asset that isn't going to be at his peak anymore. We're seeing what he is right now as a defenseman, and I don't believe he's this bad of a player as he is showing right now. But the Montreal Canadiens would be wise to move off of this contract as soon as possible. Now, another thing that stood out to me was that Kent Hughes kind of said that the Montreal Canadiens are going to have to take some losses over the next year. They're going to trade away some players to create cap space, and they're not going to get a lot in return because Marc Bergevin left the Canadiens in an interesting situation. Well, really not an interesting situation, quite a bad one in terms of the salary cap. He gave out a lot of long-term deals that could hamper the Montreal Canadiens moving forward, but I really do believe that they're going to find a way to move some of these contracts, whether it's a Yoel Armia, that type of player, and they're not going to get much, if anything, in return. But that salary cap space is so valuable in 2022 that you need to make room for players, and I do believe that Kent Hughes will find a way to do so. Quite honestly, hearing Jeff Gordon and Kent Hughes speak at their respective press conferences and to the media, it's honestly a breath of fresh air compared to what the Habs have been dealing with over the last decade with Marc Bergevin. And that's not to take shots at Bergevin. He was a different kind of general manager, but it's nice to see that the Montreal Canadiens are now getting with the times. They're dealing with a transparent regime, and I think that's only going to benefit the club moving forward. That's it for me today from Cook's Corner. As always, hit the thumbs up on this video and leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what your thoughts are of Kent Hughes, if you've heard him speak or read some of the articles about him over the last week. I'm Zach Cook. We'll see you later.